23 minutes, Caitlin Clark already shows all of us who are watching along, stay tuned, folks. Multiple triple doubles are coming this season.
Well, it wasn't perfect, but the Indiana Fever did finish the WNBA preseason.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Indiana Fever just completed their preseason. And let me tell you something, they didn't just win, they dominated the whole of it. They went in with 0 losses and ate everyone in their sight. And here's the cherry on top, Lexie Hull became a standout performer by slaying Brittney Griner and the Atlanta Dream.
The first thing I'm going to say is, if this would have been a regular season game, I believe Caitlin Clark very much flirts with a triple-double in this game. If this is a regular season game, because she was heading down.
Let's start with the obvious headline. Indiana Fever go undefeated in preseason. Undefeated. A team that not long ago was at the bottom of the WNBA food chain just ran the preseason table like it was an all-you-can-eat buffet. And you know who was holding the tongs and dishing out the damage? Caitlin Clark and Lexie Hull.
Pow, 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 pow. Ended up trying to guard Caitlin Clark. Caitlin does a step back, shoot the long 3, bangs it right in a...
If you thought Caitlin Clark was going to be a one-season wonder, guess what? She's already shutting that noise down. This wasn't the same rookie we saw in her debut last year. This is seasoned and confident Caitlin Clark 2.0, who loves launching from the logo and passing with finesse.
Ankle injury. Now, the thing that stood out the most to me was around Caitlin Clark's strength. And Caitlin has always been an underrated athlete. She's the fastest player in the league to me with the ball in her hands, and she was the best guard finishing around the rim last.
Let's talk about that final tune-up game against the Atlanta Dream, featuring none other than Brittney Griner. You'd think a team with Griner would hold some kind of paint advantage, right? Wrong. Clark and Hull turned the hardwood into a battlefield, and Brittney looked like she was trying to defend a blur that had no off switch.
Caitlin Clark, in 23 minutes of play, 13 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists.
To be concerned about is that Caitlin had a decent shooting game and did a good job of running the show, and the Dream had a particularly bad shooting.
Clark played 23 minutes of magic. She was dropping buckets like your favorite fast food cashier. Her vision was immaculate, and her passing remained outstanding.
Here, Caitlin Clark coming down the court. Yeah, she's going to dribble, and then she's going to pull up for a long 3. Bang. Right there. Beautiful three-pointer. Caitlin Clark already in mid-season form on the three-point.
A ridiculous 3/4 court pass to DeWanna Bonner looked like it was shot out of a cannon and landed right into Bonner's hands in stride for a perfect layup. That was more than a pass. It was an art installation.
3. Look her drive in, take a step back, push away. Boom. Three-pointer, beautiful, beautiful shot. She takes that step back 3. It's gorgeous.
And the chemistry between Clark and Cunningham, already next level. Clark knows Cunningham's going to sprint like her life depends on it. And she knows Clark's going to find her wherever she is, possibly even in another zip code. That kind of instant synergy is scary, to say the least.
You guys saw what I did in 23 minutes. Wait until I'm playing 30 plus. Wait until I'm playing 35 minutes. Wait until my chemistry with my teammates are all the way there. Wait until Stephanie White fine-tunes this offense around me a little bit more, tweak something here, tweak something there, and we get really into the swing of things. If you're a Caitlin Clark fan, an Indiana Fever fan, you gotta be happy with what you're seeing.
But now, let's talk about the unsung hero who is no longer unsung, Lexie Hull. Every Fever fan is asking, where did this version of Lexie come from? Did she get bitten by a radioactive hustle bug or something? Because in this game, she was everywhere. Offensively, she was driving into the paint like a truck with no brakes. And in the defense, her hands were in every passing lane. Lexie played like a one-woman security system with an attitude problem, and it was epic.
Points. Lexie Hull had a bunch of minutes in this game. 14 points. Looks like she got 5 boards, 4 assists.
And the fourth quarter, that was Lexie's personal demolition party. She was the chaos agent the Fever didn't know they needed, and now they can't live without her, because she did everything in that time, from defending to scoring, destroying and disrupting the entire opposition.
Lexie Hull, playing with the most confidence I've ever seen Lexie Hull play with. More confidence than last year, more confidence than I've seen her in Unrivaled. Lexie Hull has clearly been working on her game. And what we saw in the first 2 preseason games, what we saw last year, what we saw in Unrivaled, she gets into the paint and she does a quick little 7-foot, 8-foot mid-range shot, and it is always short-armed. It always hits the front of.
There were moments in that fourth quarter where it felt like Atlanta had more turnovers than shots. Lexie was picking pockets like a detective in a crime drama. Every time the Dream thought they had a lane, Lexie materialized out of thin air like, "Hi, I'll be taking that."
But I gotta say, this was Lexie Hull's game. She was driving to the basket. She was pulling out a midi from her bag. You know, we know Lexie Hull spotting up at the wing and sinking those 3-pointers from that hot streak she went on last season. But she's got a pretty good midi in her arsenal. She looked great on defense, as per usual. And granted, she did have most of her minutes towards the end of the game. And a lot of people are saying, oh, you know, Lexie Hull was playing the Atlanta Dream bench, but I mean, she's coming off the bench.
What's so fun about Clark and Hull's dynamic duo is that they amplify each other. Caitlin's court awareness gives Lexie open lanes and angles she's never seen before. And Lexie's relentless defense gives Clark the freedom to push tempo, knowing there's someone behind her ready to crash through anything that moves.
Caitlin Clark did come away with 13 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists, which she was in for 23 minutes. This is potentially flirting with a triple.
Ever since Lexie Hull started running with Clark, she's turned into this unrecognizable, fully optimized version of herself. Like she evolved mid-season into Lexie 2.0, the defensive menace edition.
There's a certain thing called chemistry that has to be built. And when you've got a brand new coach, you're learning a new system. That's real.
And let's be real, no one saw it coming. Everyone was focused on the flashy names, the headlines, the rookies with college clout. Meanwhile, Lexie was just grinding quietly until she exploded into the, wait, she did that player of the preseason.
Sophie and Lexie, coming off the bench, stepped up big time. Both of them came in with some crazy energy, both on the offensive side and the defensive.
But let's not forget the broader impact of Caitlin Clark's presence. Because this isn't just about what she's doing on the court, it's about the tidal wave she's created off of it. When she returned to Carver Hawkeye Arena for the exhibition against Brazil, tickets sold out in 24 minutes.
Carver Hawkeye sold out 15,000 in 27 minutes. Woof. Woof. Wow.
People were lined up hours before tip-off just to get a glimpse. ESPN pulled in 1.3 million viewers for an exhibition. Not a finals. Not an MVP showdown. Just Caitlin Clark showing up at her old gym and pulling up from 30.
Caitlin Clark looked pretty damn good today against the Atlanta Dream, and although our starters around her may not have looked the best, let's be honest, we still want Caitlin Clark. There is no sophomore slump. There is no second-year step back. There is none of that. And what we saw in the blue uniforms today, I need to say this, in the blue uniforms, you can tell Caitlin Clark looks much stronger, much thicker, much more definition, more muscular. The clothes are fitting a little tighter this year than they did last year.
The roar from the crowd when she hit a deep three from her old logo, you'd have thought it was the Super Bowl. The moment she rose up from the spot where she set the NCAA all-time scoring record and buried that shot, it wasn't a basket, it was a coronation.
It's gorgeous. How about we get a little love to Sophie Cunningham? This is going to be a pass from Caitlin Clark in as Sophie Cunningham cuts towards the basket. Right here, you're going to see her come cutting in right there with the pass. Nice little made layup. You know, not that I'm trying to throw shade, but again, a made layup.
That is not hype. That's history. That's reach. Clark is slowly becoming a rookie with the gravity of a black hole and the marketing pull of the Avengers cast combined. So yeah, when Clark and Lexie walk into a game now, you're getting sold-out crowds, sky-high ticket prices, and opponents holding emergency strategy meetings at halftime. The Fever aren't just improved, they're unrecognizable in the best possible way.
Caitlin Clark is just so fun to watch. The difference that she brings to the game. This is an entertainer. She knows how to rev up the crowd. She puts on a show. And like Rebecca Lobo said, the Indiana Fever are just fun to watch.
From bottom feeders to preseason juggernauts, all thanks to a new system that gives Caitlin Clark the keys, and Lexie Hull the gas pedal. And Atlanta, on the other hand, they had no idea what hit them. Griner tried. She really did. But when Clark's pushing pace like a track meet and Hull's playing like a caffeinated spider monkey on defense, you need more than post presence to survive. You need a miracle.
Now, one of the more surprising things, Brittney Griner only played two minutes in this game. Now, look, what is she? 39 years old? I don't think she's that old, but she's getting up there. So that's why they put the limited minutes on Brittney Griner.
Now the real season begins. The Fever open up against Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky, which means, yes, the drama is about to crank to an unholy level. Angel's already probably rehearsing a few sound bites. But if this preseason was any indicator, she might want to spend more time on defensive rotations than Instagram captions. So, yes, Caitlin Clark and Lexie Hull just destroyed Brittney Griner and the Atlanta Dream. And yes, the Fever just swept the preseason. But the scariest part of all, they're just getting started.